Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Play. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivjaga Ashtotra Sada Sri Śrīmad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine. Today we are continuing to read from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 31, Text number 7. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistikhi. Tanna pradyotya adhyatma Jnanam tattvartha darshanam Enanjasa tarishyamo Dustaram bhavasagaram Tanna pradyotya adhyatma Jnanam tattvartha darshanam Enanjasa tarishyamo Dustaram bhavasagaram Tanna pradyotya adhyatma Jnanam tattvartha darshanam Enanjasa tarishyamo Dustaram bhavasagaram. Did I chant 3 times? No. Yeah, okay. Jnanam tattvartha darshanam Enanjasa tarishyamo Dustaram bhavasagaram Tanna pradyotya adhyatma Jnanam tattvartha darshanam Enanjasa tarishyamaha Dustaram bhavasagaram Tanna pradyotya adhyatma Jnanam tattvartha darshanam Enanjasa tarishyamo Dustaram bhavasagaram. Tanna pradyotya adhyatma Jnanam tattvartha darshanam Enanjasa tarishyama Dustaram bhavasagaram. Word to word trans. What do we do next? We do word to word meaning, right? After this? Okay. Tat, therefore. Naha, for us. Pradyotaya, kindly awaken. Adhyatma, transcendental. Jnanam, knowledge. Tattva, absolute truth. Artha, for the purpose of. Darshanam, philosophy. Ena, by which. Anjasa, easily. Tarishyamaha, we can cross over. Dustaram, formidable. Bhavasagaram, the ocean of nescience. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Dear Master, kindly enlighten us in transcendental knowledge, which may act as a torchlight by which we may cross the dark nescience of material existence. Purport. The Prachetas requested Narada to enlighten them in transcendental knowledge. Generally, when a common man meets a saintly person, he wishes to get some material benediction. However, the Prachetas were not interested in material benefit, for they had enjoyed all this sufficiently. Nor did they want the fulfillment of their material desires. They were simply interested in crossing the ocean of nescience. Everyone should be interested in getting out of these material clutches. Everyone should approach a saintly person in order to be enlightened in this connection. One should not bother a saintly person to get blessings for material enjoyment. Generally, householders receive saintly persons to get their blessings, but the real aim is to become happy in the material world. Asking such material benedictions is not recommended in the Shastras. Can you get Bhagavad Gita? Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sma Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we see prachetas acting as the ideal disciples, showing the proper mood. Few days ago, Yamuna Leela Mataji was describing about how the prachetas were showing utmost respect. They got up from the seat, received Narad Muni and gave him proper place to sit, inquired whether his journey was okay on the way. Then they are offering obeisances, then they are worshipping him. After making Narada Muni sit in a proper asana, then they are putting forward the question. Then they say that it was a great fortune for them to meet Narada Muni. Even in that verse, the concept of darkness and light was discussed. The darkness was compared to that of night, and then the spiritually enlightened devotees, they are compared to light. The fear brought about by the thieves and rogues are removed in the day. Similarly, the prachetas say that Narada Muni is like a traveling sun who drives away all the fear. Then they admit their own fallen position. Now here we are talking about the caliber of prachetas who have seen great personalities like Lord Shiva, who out of his causeless mercy came and instructed them in Rudra Gita. Then with their blessing, with his blessings, they performed austerities. Then they saw who? Lord Vishnu, very good. So they have seen Lord Shiva, they have seen Lord Vishnu himself. Then they engage in creating progeny. And here they are admitting that we were overly attached to family affairs. We almost forgot the instructions we received from Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. So constant recitation of the spiritual instruction is required. Repetition is the key to remembering. This is how the Lord protects His devotees through instructions. Is one of the ways by which the Lord protects the devotees by giving instructions. And these instructions come to us through disciplic succession. I should turn on my phone. Yeah, so these instructions come to us through the disciplic succession, and that's why in the beginning we sing Om Ajnana Timirandasya, with the torchlight of knowledge. The spiritual master is opening the eyes of the disciple, and then he is giving Tattva Darshana, seeing the world through the philosophy. That's what is being touched upon here. Now, what is the famous verse in the Gita which talks about guru-disciple? Yes, please. Chant as many as you can. You have a second mic, you can give him. You have a second mic? It's a problem. Okay. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. So, in that chapter, fourth chapter is entitled as what? Transcendental knowledge. You can all get a Gita, so let's do a Gita class. You can all get a copy of Gita. Phone is not personal actually. You don't get mother and father in phone. You get a book is a special touch. All the senses are engaged. Better. So you better get a book maybe from the shelf. There are multiple copies. Yeah, 2 should be fine, 2 or 3, yeah, you can share. So, fourth, so in the contents page, you'll have transcendental knowledge under that chapter. Can you read what's in that? Prabhupada puts succinct information in there. If you go to the contents page, right at the beginning, you will see chapter 4. And can somebody read that? So there is a thing called contents page, and then where there is a section. Yes, please. Yeah, maybe you can give the mic to her.
Transcendental knowledge, the spiritual knowledge of the soul, of God, and of their relationship, is both purifying and liberating. Such knowledge is the fruit of selfless devotional action, karma yoga. The Lord explains the remote history of the Gita, the purpose and significance of its periodic descents to the material world, and the necessity of approaching a guru, a realized teacher.
So if you reflect on your own devotional life, what were some of the services that you were engaged in the beginning? Each one of you can reflect and tell what sort of services were you engaged in. Were you asked to come in straight and join Bhakti Shastri class, or what did you do before that? What were you doing? Question to all of you. You taken to Prasadam hall, very good. After that? Paying obeisance to deities, good. What else?
Participating in Kirtan.
Participating in Kirtan. What else?
Hearing Bhagavad Gita class.
Hearing Bhagavad Gita class. Okay. Were you doing anything with your hands and legs? Any hands-on activities were you doing? Cleaning the temple. Okay, good. And cleaning the prasadam hall after eating. So, whatever is fed, then the energy comes out. Were you getting paid for that?
Yes.
Were you getting paid for cleaning the prasadam hall? You were.
Prasada is given.
Prasad is given, that's a payment. Okay, were you paid in dollars? Were you paid in dollars to clean the prasadam hall?
Dollar is actually we can't eat, so we do prasada.
Dollar we can't eat, so that's why you eat prasadam. So you didn't get dollars for cleaning the prasadam hall. So that is the aspect of selfless service. Selfless devotional action. You are engaged in that sort of selfless devotional action, and as a result of that, here you are now as an initiated disciple. Some are in the process of getting initiated. Why? Because we were engaged in selfless devotional service, because there is a whole institution which facilitates such selfless devotional service, and the result of doing that is the rate at which you apply the opportunities that you get in devotional service, those hands-on services that you are doing, and that increases the eagerness to hear. Shushrushro shraddadhanasya vasudeva kataruchi syan mahat sevaya vipra punya tirtha nishevanat. Who was the Mahat that we were serving when we were doing the devotional service? Do you know? Who's that Mahat? Mahat Seva is described. Who's that great personality we were serving through this devotional service? Who are we trying to please? Who's that great person? Any ideas? Who is that great person we were trying to serve through these devotional activities? Question for all of you. Who is that great person that we were trying to serve by these selfless devotional service? Who are we trying to serve? Wow, so quick. Srila Prabhupada, thank you. So, that is how, by serving that great personality, we get what? Transcendental knowledge. That transcendental knowledge involves knowing three things. What is that? Can you read that section again, the first two lines? Yeah, what is transcendental knowledge? Below that there is... The spiritual knowledge of the soul, of God, and their relationship. So this is what Guru gives. Yeah, understand who you are, or understand who the Lord is. What is your relationship? So when Krishna says, Jnaninas tattva darshinaha, they have seen the truth. Interestingly, Krishna uses the word they, not just one person. It represents the entire parampara. That is why the receiving of instructions is a mystical process by which you have multiple personalities instructing at different stages in your life. And that is what is happening in the case of Prachetas at this point. Their father instructed them to go to the forest, perform austerities. Although the motive was not pure at that stage, but their actions were, so they met there. So Vartama Pradakshaka Guru is the one who is showing the path, then the one who initiates Diksha, Lord Shiva, Rudra Gita is given, and he instructs them, act like sages, keep these prayers in your mind and recite them, and anyone who recites this with the folded hands in front of the Supreme Lord, they will get devotion, they will be able to please the Lord quickly. So, that's how the process works, in a way that you have different set of instructors coming into your life at different times and giving you showing you the right path, because you have that inclination, and then the Lord inside you is also directing you in that path by sending different representatives. And these people have seen the truth, Tattva Darshina. Seen the truth means, truth is described in the Bhagavatam as 3 phases. What are they? We start off with Brahman, Paramatma, then finally the Supreme. Vadantidas Tattva Vidas. So that Tattva Darshana, who have seen the truth, they have seen the truth in all 3 features. Vadantitat Tattva Vidas Tattvam Yajnanam Advayam. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabdite. So, authentic spiritual teacher means he should take you up to the point of devotional service to the Supreme Person, not just give you the impersonal understanding of the Lord and stop it there. They are not Tattva Darshana. They haven't seen the truth, and they can't play the role of a bona fide spiritual master. So, the bona fide spiritual master understands that God is a person, and God is a Supreme Person, and it's from Him everything comes. And we are also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Then the knowledge of the soul and of the God and their relationship. Now, when we are in the material world, we are dealing with material nature. That is another aspect of transcendental knowledge which the Guru imparts. He does not ask you to renounce the material world and not to consider the material world as illusory and to be given up. You didn't own it to renounce it in the first place. So, the ideal spiritual master is the one who gives you the process by which you can engage the material nature in Lord's service. So, he teaches you the connection between you and the material nature, how to deal with it, how to act in a way that you don't get entangled. Suppose if I don't want to get any fines from RTA, one thing I can do is I can stop driving. Then I won't get any fines from Vic roads, isn't it? Whoever puts fine if you speed. One option is stop driving. Other option is don't understand the rules, then get into some problem, pay the fines. Or the third is know how to drive without getting fined and get on with your activities, which the transportation is going to serve you for a higher purpose, to getting to your job or dropping off your children at the school or whatever it is. But you are able to do that activity without getting entangled. And that's what the spiritual master teaches you. How to utilize everything in Krishna's service. And that's how you see material nature in relationship to the Lord, and that's what the Tattva Darshana is about. One of the aspects is to see the material nature in connection to the Supreme Lord. So you're seeing yourself in connection to the Supreme Lord, which is your eternal servant, and Lord is the shelter, and He is the supreme enjoyer and the protector, well-wisher. Then the material nature has to be engaged in the Lord's service. Now, this is where the spiritual master is teaching the proper mentality, the attitude, and then he also gives you proper methods by which material nature can be engaged, and also warns you about potential dangers, how actions in this world can either bind you or liberate you. And for understanding the intricacies of what is proper action, what is improper action, and what is devotional action, we need a spiritual master. Krishna explains that these concepts are very hard to understand, and for knowing this, we need a spiritual master. When I was thinking about this point and then looking at Narad Muni, he has perfectly engaged people of different nature in devotional service. In case of King Prachinabarhi, he was thinking that doing pious activities will not entangle him. He was not seeing the reactions of those pious activities and thinking that I'll go on doing this. Because it is authorized by the Vedas, I'll do it. When Prabhupada talks about these three types of action, karma, vikarma and akarma, Prabhupada classifies karma, which is pious activities, also under vikarma. Why? Because it is not in line with the ultimate conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, which is to give up sarvadharman parityajya, give up all kind of activities and surrender unto the Lord. By doing pious activities, you still have to come back into this world and enjoy those benefits. Coming back means taking birth. Birth is not a pleasant experience. Although you get a momentary enjoyment for the pious activities you have done, and then you need to grow old and die. So, in one sense, you are going away from the actual conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. That's why spiritual master is required. In case of Narad Muni, he saw how Prachinabarhi is getting entangled, although Prachinabarhi could not see. And that's what is being taught here in this verse about giving Tattvartha Darshanam. So seeing through the eyes of the scriptures. The scriptures are the basis. The spiritual master comes and takes the principles, and as per the position in which the disciple is in, he starts to change their attitude, their mentality, and he also gives them proper methods that they can adopt to reach the goal. So when Prachinabarhi saw that even though he thought he is not getting entangled, this is what it means to see action in inaction and inaction in action. This is the type of intricate knowledge, this is the vision which the spiritual master gives. which no other university, college, school, none of them teach this. This is the required knowledge, very relevant at this stage, how we are getting entangled without even we knowing how we are getting entangled. And that's why the spiritual master is required, to give you that knowledge. A simple activity of sitting down and breathing without thinking about the Supreme Lord, just the breathing in, breathing out. What is happening is you're taking in microorganisms, and if your defense system is strong, it will kill the harmful organisms entering your body. Just by the act externally, I can't say that you are engaged in any violent activity. But internally, it's very relevant. If you are strong, you kill the virus. If virus is strong, it takes over your system. This is what it means that an apparent activity of just sitting down and just breathing, so many reactions are happening. You are able to see reactionary work in an apparently non-violent, silent activity of breathing. And this is the type of knowledge which the Guru imparts. So does it mean that we stop all the activities? Because every action has got a reaction. No, the spiritual master tells you how to get out of this cycle. And that's the torchlight of knowledge, and that's the boat which will help you to get out of the cycle of birth and death. How to act in a way that you don't get entangled, you please the Lord, and you also develop devotion towards the Lord. All these are getting accomplished by the knowledge given by the spiritual master. So this complex cycle is, you are given a loophole, or you are given an exit out of this complex cycle of action-reaction by doing devotional activities by which you don't get pious or impious credits for that. That is akarma. That is one of the meanings of akarma, although one meaning of that akarma is inaction, is not doing any activity, which Krishna brings out in the 2nd chapter. Don't be attached to not doing your activity. Ma karma phala hetupur mate sangostva akarmani. So don't be attached to not doing your activities. So that is a famous verse, karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. So you have a right to perform your duties, but you're not entitled for the results. So now what motivation can I have if I don't aspire for the results? So what Krishna is saying is not to stop. We can give this excuse and stop action. That's not what the Guru and Krishna are telling. They are telling you or giving you the knowledge by which you can act in a way that you don't get entangled. How to deal with the material nature in such a way that you properly utilize it in the Lord's service. Prabhupada, in the lectures to these verses, section of verses in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, he quotes the example of how microphone is being used, how the cars are being used in Krishna's service, how money is being used in Krishna's service. And he quotes Rupa Goswami. And this is the knowledge darshana which the Guru gives, by which you can differentiate between capricious work, inaction, and devotional service, and engage in devotional service. This transcendental knowledge that is given by the spiritual master is like a fire that can burn all the reactions. In case of Narad Muni imparting it to Prachina Barahir, we saw how he got transformed. Because Narad Muni gave the method, changed the mentality, and also inspired him to quickly take up this process and not to wait till their sons come. So, this is one aspect of transcendental knowledge where it is able to burn the reactions of your past activities and any reactions which is pending, which you have to get in the near future, even that is getting burned. That is the speciality of bhakti process, where it can burn. The transcendental knowledge is special in that it can burn the sinful reactions which are in the manifest, unmanifest state. So when I was reflecting on Narad Muni instructing Mrigari the hunter, so the manifest reaction is that he is in a hunter's body. But by taking up instructions from the spiritual master and following the process of chanting the holy name of the Lord, his manifest sinful reaction also changed and he became a saintly devotee. That's the power of the spiritual master. So, the hunter was engaging in vikarma, which is prohibited actions. But Narad Muni intervenes and gives him the knowledge and thereby makes him perform devotional action. Again, in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, Narad Muni applies the same principle of instructing him in akarma, which is devotional service to the Lord. And if you see the transformation in Dhruva Maharaj also, we can see the mentality before he met Narad Muni and the mentality that he got transformed to. Again, there is a transformation in the consciousness and in the mentality. Before meeting Narad Muni, he wanted to get a kingdom which is greater than his grandfather, Lord Brahma. But after that, after going through the process, which is tailor-made by Narad Muni, again, his master brain, being in the forest, make a form of the Lord in the wood and worship. So he adjusted the details. And Prabhupada mentions in that section that an Acharya can adjust such details to achieve the objective of engaging the disciple in devotional service. The result is that Dhruva Maharaj got transformed, and when he met the Lord, Swamin Kritortasmi Varamna Yachet. Sthane Abhilashi. My Abhilasha, my desire was to obtain a position. But now, I don't want any of those. So, a highly energetic youth who has got fully loaded up with material desires meets a spiritual master who completely, he tests him, then gives him the knowledge, whole transformation happens, the mentality changes, the methods were given. So he applied those methods, got the result, the whole mentality changed. So this is the power of the spiritual master, giving the tattva darshana to a variety of spiritual teachers. In our own spiritual life, we must be able to appreciate how different divine personalities have come in and they have given this type of knowledge to us and how they have transformed. And they are transforming and will be also transforming us. Reflecting on my own experience where I didn't come to Australia to become like this. The inclination to hear was there, and somehow by devotee association they fan the fire, and then you get introduced to various divine personalities. First, of course, is our Founder-Acharya. In the Adelaide temple, I used to just go for prasadam on the weekend, just peep in, pay obeisances, come out. So one time I was paying obeisances in the wrong way. Somebody tapped my shoulder and told me that you shouldn't do that. You're showing the feet to the Guru. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So then to ask forgiveness, I went close to Prabhupada. I didn't know who it was, and his name was written. Touched his feet, and then by mistake I showed my feet to you while paying obeisances. I am sorry. I don't know who you are. There's a saying in the one of the South Indian languages, Telugu, that Entano Mahanubhavalu Antariki Vandanamu. There are so many exalted personalities, spiritual personalities. I pay my respects to everybody. So that verse came into my mouth, and I recited that and touched the feet. That's where it all began, I could say. Over a period, devotees introduced me to different spiritual teachers. One of them became my spiritual teacher, and many other instructing gurus who come into your life at the right time when you're going through a crisis. It may not be the guru who initiated you, but if a disciple is open enough, even in a Bhagavatam class or a Bhagavad Gita class or a short discussion with an exalted person, just 2 minutes talk, that will actually change and transform. Once I remember walking out of the North Sydney station and coming out, had a heavy day at work, and I could see, I was hearing the kartal sound. And then when I got out of the station and up to the street, I saw His Holiness Janananda Maharaj doing kirtan with his old other set of devotees. I was in formal dress, but still I started jumping and dancing, so that I could see the contrast in which I was in the what do they call, the fire of material existence, and you come out, you're in touch with the devotees. What is the difference? So then when you want to dedicate fully, then you are given instructions accordingly. Because going through some tough periods, then once Devamata Maharaj visited Sydney temple, and then out of his own mercy he called and he spoke to me, which is exactly what I need to hear at that time. So even though we have seen, we are getting connected, we forget. And that's why these saintly personalities come again and again, and they interfere, and then they give you. And that is why this process of guru-disciple is mystical, and different personalities will come, and it's not just one person. It's a whole parampara connecting you. And they give you the transcendental knowledge, they give you the darshana or the vision by which you can see who you are, who God is, what material nature is, how to engage that in Lord's service, and thereby you get liberated from the ocean of nescience. Okay, I'll stop here. Let's see if there are any questions on what we discussed.
transcendental knowledge.
Hmm.
So what all purity we can achieve?
What all purity we can achieve by hearing transcendental knowledge?
Following transcendental knowledge we are giving.
Yeah, as I was mentioning earlier, the Kleshagni, you come out of the burning material existence, as I was telling, coming out of work and joining the Harinam. So that is a kind of purification that is beginning. So purification happens at the level of mind. Then your senses are getting engaged, as you described. You are hearing kirtan, tasting prasadam, then also cleaning the temple. Whatever senses you have, there is a corresponding devotional action which is there to purify. Then with the purified consciousness, so Bhakti Yoga acts in an inside-out approach in a way that the consciousness is getting purified. With that purified consciousness, that happens by hearing transcendental knowledge. So with that purified consciousness, you purify your intelligence, make it spiritualized. With the spiritualized intelligence, you control the mind and the senses. And that's how purification happens at gross level, subtle level. And then when you fast track it, you take initiation when you're strongly connected, then the rest of the things, more subtle impurities also get purified. That is one way of looking at it. There are different levels of purification, but yeah. Anything else? Does this process work on everyone? So many people come to temple, it doesn't work. Okay. So the examples that I gave of Narad Muni instructing the hunter, Narad Muni instructing Prachina Barhi, Narad Muni instructing Dhruva Maharaj, and now he's going to instruct the Prachetas. What is common in all these things? So Guru gives the process to disciple and immediately he gets transformed, or what happens? What is the part which the disciple has to do? He has to follow, very good. He has to apply the process. So to the extent that you apply the process, it works. If you work the process works. If you don't, so that's why the human form of life is very rare, and human body is the perfect situation you are in. If you don't use that, then you are killing yourself. You are considered as a killer of your own soul. The point they don't get transformed is they are not applying it. The process works if you work the process. So, as preachers, it's up to us to inspire different sets of people according to their psychophysical nature, wherever position they are in, engage them in different services, give more and more opportunities for them so that they become purified. Okay, anything else? Some people are going through the process, they are not able to continue. Okay. Examples like?
Some people, I know some people who have actually started the process, but somehow they cannot continue.
Okay, no problem. Krishna says, whatever you have done, that will carry on with you. Even small progress made in bhakti will be protected. They will take up subsequently in this life or in the next life, but whatever progress they have made, 1%, 2%, 5%, 10%, that sticks with them. So that guarantee Krishna gives. They shouldn't commit Vaishnava Aparadha, then they will be able to access that spiritual credits. So Vaishnava Aparadha will put a temporary block, it won't take away, but it will delay. If they don't do that, there are good examples like Ajamil, quite inspiring, to see how that helpless chanting of the Lord at the last stage of his life saved him. So we may not see them throughout their devotional life. They can continue in a different temple or a different place. So, yeah, it is up to us to facilitate wherever they are in, whichever stage. We may not know, but Guru and Krishna, they will guide them. Is it okay? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.